There you go. Give myself a little more leverage. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the channel today. I really appreciate it. My name is Matt, and this is Firewood in the Field. But today's video doesn't have any firewood, and I'm not in the field, as you can tell by the surroundings. I am iced out in my wood yard. It's about 3 or 4 inches of just solid ice everywhere here in East Central Missouri. We got a couple inches of sleet, a couple inches of snow. We've had a little melt and refreeze action, and it is just super nasty out there. So, good day to be in the garage. Today, I'm going to install a block heater on my T574 TYM tractor. It just fits in the garage. If I take the front loader off, I have to fold my ROPS bar down. But my barn that I keep it in, as you may have seen in my other videos, it's gravel floor. It's not finished yet. The walls and the roof and the sides are up, but there's no overhead doors, so it's chilly in there, and it's gravel floor. So this is a better environment to get some work done in the garage. Now it's debatable if I even need the block heater on this tractor. I started it the other day at 18 degrees Fahrenheit. It started without any issue. We usually have a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks in January, February timeframe where the highs might be in the teens. Occasionally we'll have it where the high will only be around 10 or 11, and we've got a couple of those days coming up here soon. So I just want to be ready, and even if it's something I don't absolutely need for the tractor to start, I like babying my equipment, I guess you could say, or taking care of my equipment. And it's just easier on it to start with if you have a block heater you can use. So for this tractor, you gotta, you pull this out of the, you loosen these up, pull this out of the way. There's a little hood release over here, and you lift your hood. Now something I'll show you, I'll bring the camera over. I noticed that I'm a little closer to the minimum level on my coolant, and I smell a sweet antifreeze smell when I run this tractor. It's got, I think, about 118 hours on it now. So I'm going to check all the tightness of the hoses on all my radiator hoses. I've read on some of the other forums that that's fairly common for those just to be a little loose and maybe just a little steam is escaping. Now to do this job on the tractor, you're going to lose most of your coolant when you take the plug out of the side of the block. So I went ahead and bought a gallon of antifreeze. I bought this at my local dealer, the dealer where I bought this machine. This is the antifreeze they stock and they recommend. I'm not sponsored by it or anything like that. I'll see if I can find a link for it. It might be on Amazon. This is already pre-mixed, which I usually prefer to buy full strength. I have the ability to get water and mix it myself and save a little money, but this is all they had. And since the tractor is only about just a little over a year old, well, almost actually right at 1 year old, I just thought I'd buy the stuff from the dealer just so there's no fuzz. The block heater itself, I bought from my dealer, and here's the label in case you are looking to get one. And that's all it is. It's probably a universal setup. And then I'm opting to use a thread sealant instead of Teflon tape. Maybe Teflon tape would be just fine here. My limited experience working on equipment, I've got something that gets hot and vibrates and shakes and hot and vibrates and shakes. I like to use like a thread sealant like this. I prefer to use a sealant over the Teflon tape. So this is what I'm going to be using. And I had this in the house for a while, make sure it wasn't frozen. It's been pretty cold here in the garage. Okay, the engine is nice and cool. I've had the tractor in the garage here for a couple hours. Let me show you the little drain to drain the antifreeze out of the radiator, and then we'll take the block plug out. Okay, just while I'm here, I'll show you on this tractor where the block heater goes. So I'm on the left side of the tractor. Some people would call it the driver's side, I guess, for those of us in America. I may have to get a light source in here, but right there, you take a 1/2-inch ratchet extension and you take that plug out right there. So there's my starter motor, and there is what I think is the pump for the power steering. And it's just right there in between the two. When you take that out, it's going to lose a bunch of coolant, so make sure you have something to catch it. And then on the other side of the tractor, same side of the tractor on my tractor where the overflow reservoir is, and that's just this is my battery tender wire. There's that plug right there. I'll get a light and I'll get a better shot for that. Now I tried to find the right size wrench. 1/2 inch is a little big, 12 millimeters a little small. I'm just going to use a crescent wrench, an adjustable wrench. And my heat source in here today, it's got an old kerosene heater set up, and I'm actually burning diesel. And look how clean. Don't mind the mess behind it. This had about a 1/4 tank of kerosene left, and I filled it with the tax-free diesel, the red dyed stuff. It's been running for a couple hours. No issues. Little soot on the top when I started it and the flame was big. That's what I'm using today for heat. Let's get started. Okay, you can see a little better with the light. I wired a battery tender just up to my battery connections. That's what that wire is that you see there. And there is the little drain for the radiator. And it should just splash through there. It might splatter a little bit on the axle. I got my drain pan down. I'll see if I can do this with one hand here. Oh gosh, I got my finger over the lens. All right, well, I had my finger right over the camera lens when I loosened this with the wrench. Let me take the radiator cap off so some will come out. There we go. Well, hey, I just discovered something. You can kind of meter how much comes out by if you don't lift the radiator cap all the way off real quick. And try to let it drain like that, let it be controlled. Anyway, you get the idea. It's just antifreeze draining out of a radiator. But radiator cap right here is just your typical, push and turn. You can hear it when I lift this up. How much faster it comes out. Kind of like it's coming out a little bit controlled. And there is your little, this is just all plastic. So you got to be kind of careful with this stuff. All right, I'll get you back set up whenever we're ready to keep going. Okay, the radiator has been drained, and I put the little stopper back in. I didn't have it on camera. There was actually a little rubber washer that went on the little plastic bolt that came in out of the radiator. When I went to put it back on, I found it stuck there. And then I'm salvaging my engine coolant. That's what came out of the tractor. It's just a plastic jug I had and a big full funnel with a filter. I'll probably have to reuse some of this. Just my personal opinion. Antifreeze, engine coolant, it's one of those fluids that I don't mind reusing. It's not like engine oil or maybe transmission oil where it's getting worn as quite as much, dealing with metal on metal and things like that nature. It's just, it does get cavitation from the water pump, but it just goes through the radiator. But looking at how much there is, it looks like it holds a little more than a gallon, and I haven't taken the drain plug out yet. So I've only got 1 gallon of stuff from the dealer. So I'll put in the whole gallon of the new stuff, and then I'll pour in what's left, or some of the stuff that I reclaimed. Okay, now that I've got the radiator drained, I've got a drain pan down here on the ground. It's off camera. I don't think you can see it. I am going to take this extension, stick it in there. I've got a breaker bar, 1/2 inch. Hopefully you can see that all right. We'll see if she comes out without a fight. Oh, well, that's really in there. Let me get a little cheater pipe. All right. trying to be gentle but firm here. Give myself a little more leverage. Boy, she don't want to gum. I'm a little worried. I'm watching my Harbor Freight breaker bar just bend like crazy. Let's see if I got a different breaker bar. Well, I'll give it one other little go here. So righty tighty, lefty loosey. Now, this is actually a shorter breaker bar. Shorter breaker bar, but it's an older Craftsman unit. So I'm hoping maybe it's a little more robust steel. All right, see if you have any luck with this shorter but maybe less flexible breaker bar. I could put a shorter extension in here too, but this gives me this gets me out away from the motor and everything. There we go. There we go. Yep. And make sure you have that extension all the way up in there really good with all the amount of force that it takes to turn. You don't want that slipping and sliding and stripping things out. Alrighty, yeah, I can get her out now. All right, I expect a little bit of coolant to come gushing out. So turn the light on here a little bit. Kind of hard to get a angle in there for you guys to see it. There we go, starting to run out. Just gonna kind of hold it here and control the mess a little bit. There we go. Okay, well, it holds quite a bit of coolant in there. Yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, get you a better look. It did splash out another good bit right there. That's where it came out from. Let me put some kitty litter on the ground here, catch stuff that didn't get in my tray. And I will clean this off and get it put away. Okay, I'm causing a horrible glare, I'm sure, but you can see there's a hole back there. That's where the plug was. Got it out. Let it drain and drip for a while. Stuck a couple clean paper towels in and out of there, dried the threads out a little bit. And now it's time to put it in the block heater. So I'll go ahead and open it up. And then this comes apart like that. And this rubber plug comes out of there. And this is what screws in to the block. Now that thread sealant that I'm going to use, you have to cut the tip open, which I already did. You want to put this on about 3/4 of the way of the threads. That's what the instructions say. I kind of got it globbered on there, but it's on there. They say to leave some of the thread bare. Now I'm gonna install it. I should have seen what size socket that was first. Okay, mine takes a 1 and 7/16 inch socket. 1 and 7/16. I don't know if that's picking that up or not. I didn't have my 3/4 inch drive with handy. Let's see if I can rotate another half turn. So I want those little prongs to be pointed to where I can install it with the electrical plug pointed down. We'll see if I'm going to be able to get it to turn. I'm going to test that and see how that fits. Sure would like if I could get it to turn just a little more. I'll show you why I'm trying to get it to turn just a little more here in just a second. Yeah, I can live with that. Okay, that works for me. Let me bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. The reason I kept wanting to tighten it just a little more is the angle of those pins. So this fits in here. And so it was turned sideways where that was going to make the wire go aft to the rear of the tractor once come down. That's still a little bit angled, but that'll work. All right, and you can see with the wire, I wanted it to be angled more down. That's good. I'll tuck it in behind all these other wires so it won't be riding on the starter motor. And I'll figure out what I want to do with it. If I've got enough wire, I might zip tie it and run it all the way over here to where I have the quick connect for the battery. All right, it's installed. Got my wire tucked in behind there. And I do believe I've got enough wire to run all the way to the other side of the tractor so I can have this plug next to the battery tender plug, which works well for where I park the machine in my building. A little bit of cleanup, gotta put the antifreeze back in. We'll get going. All right, everyone, it's gonna be a wrap on the video today. All I've got left to do is to put the coolant back in the radiator and do a little cleanup. So I'm gonna go in and get some water in a spray bottle, kind of wash the antifreeze off the side of the motor where I took the block plug out, and then fill it up. That's really all that's left. So I hope this video was helpful for someone. And just in comparison, this machine started just fine at 18 degrees Fahrenheit for me. I don't know off the top of my head what the book recommends a block heater for, but all in all, pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty straightforward job. My opinion, well worth doing. In hindsight, I should have just had it added when I bought the tractor new. I think it was like an extra 80 bucks or something like that. But not a bad idea to flush the radiator out anyway. But if you're still here and watching, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate it even more if you can consider to hit that like and subscribe button. And from Matt, Firewood in the Field, see you next time.